On this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq, Admiral.MIL talks to troops in Baghdad, and a combat support hospital cares for burn victims. Don't miss these stories and more on today's FJI. Hello, I'm Air Force Sergeant Braden Smith. Welcome to this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Admiral.MIL, got to hear concerns, ideas, and get a general feel for morale of troops in Iraq through an all-hands call at Camp Victory. Airman First Class Priscilla Christensen gives us the details on his trip.
It's not every day the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff stops by to talk about the military, life, and the progress of operations in Iraq. But at Camp Victory in Iraq, Admiral.MIL did just that for nearly 500 service members.
These young men and women who mean so much to progress here as well as to our country, and it's a real privilege to be with them over these couple of days.
All of the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines at the all-hands call were lower enlisted, just how the four-star commander wanted it.
Every single individual in this room is a leader. It's really important to hear what's on their minds, and they're the ones that are carrying the load. They're the ones that are essentially making the progress here. They're the ones that we're asking to sacrifice so much on the front lines, and so I try to be in touch with them to hear what's on their mind.
And on this day, the service members' voices were heard. They got a chance to ask the Admiral a variety of questions, ranging from deployment cycles to military incentives.
But I found the questions healthy, actually very thoughtful, and I find this in almost every all-hands call that I've ever been in, and certainly today was an example.
Four-star Admiral, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, coming out here and talking to E5 and below. He took the time out of his schedule to actually come down and talk to us. That's a really big deal.
After the event, the service members received a coin and the chance to take a picture with the chairman.
Thank you for coming.
Airman First Class Priscilla Christensen, Camp Victory, Iraq.
The work the 86th Combat Support Hospital does is vital not only to the coalition forces, but also the Iraqi security forces and local residents. Petty Officer Nathan Gomez shows us one of the missions they never expected to do. Due to graphic nature, some images have been blurred.
For the 86th, one of the main challenges upon arrival in November was dealing with the pediatric burn victims. They had nurses who were trained in pediatric care, but not burn care.
We weren't really expecting that to see as one of our category patients because we were looking at combat trauma. And when we got here, we suddenly realized that that was something we actually had to train up our nurses on, because there was a huge percentage when we first got here that were pediatric patients that were burnt on top of that.
Working with the burn doctor who was trained at the Institute of Surgical Research in San Antonio, Texas, was the next step in getting up to speed on burn care.
We got a training plan together, and within a few weeks we were up and trained, and our nurses done an excellent job, as you can see.
This team made up of doctors, nurses, different types of therapists, and other providers who work together for one common goal.
Burn care is so complicated, and burns affect so many different aspects of the patient's body and mind that you have to have all the team members working together in order to achieve a satisfactory result.
The pediatric patients make up about 10% of the patients seen by the 86th and continue to receive the best care possible. Petty Officer Nathan Gomez, Baghdad.
Coming up, Iraqi Army soldiers taking the lead. Stay tuned.
Here's your raid report. Coalition forces captured a wanted man and a dozen additional suspects during operations in central and northern Iraq targeting al-Qaeda terrorists. One suspect is believed to be a liaison between senior terrorist leaders in an area west of Mosul. U.S. soldiers and Iraqi security forces discovered 3 weapons caches in the Rashid district of southern Baghdad. The forces discovered multiple munitions, including rocket-propelled grenades and RPG launchers. Iraqi soldiers located a weapons cache in the city of Amara and detained 2 individuals occupying the building where the cache was found. The soldiers found anti-tank mines, rocket-propelled grenades, RPG launchers, and other munitions. The Baghdad National Emergency Response Unit detained 3 suspected al-Qaeda in Iraq criminals working within the Ministry of Technology and Science in the Rusafa district of Baghdad. And that's your raid report. I'm Petty Officer Patrick Dilling.
Here are the latest Operation Iraqi Freedom headlines. At a meeting with Arab ambassadors in Abu Dhabi, Prime Minister Maliki said Iraq has proposed a short-term memorandum of understanding to authorize the continued presence of U.S. forces. Diyala province has been hit harder than any other Iraqi province by female suicide bomber attacks. Iraq has suffered more than 20 female suicide bomber attacks in 2008, 11 of which were carried out in Diyala. Ministry of Interior Jawad al-Bulani says evidence obtained through confessions of special groups members links Iran with special groups operating in Iraq. Minister Bulani said negotiations with Iran have reduced the work of these groups. Despite recent attacks and the assassination of a high-profile politician, military operations have significantly reduced violence in Diyala province over the past year. Those are your headlines from around the region. I'm Airman First Class Shaylin Jordan.
There's strong, and then there's Army strong. It's more than physical strength. It is emotional strength. Not just strength in numbers, the strength of brothers. Not just the strength to get yourself over, the strength to get over yourself. There's nothing stronger than the U.S. Army, because there is nothing stronger than a U.S. Army soldier. There's strong, and then there's Army strong. Visit GoArmy.com/strong.
The Iraqi Army is beginning to take over their own missions throughout the country. Army Sergeant Christina Harwell tells us about a recent operation hailed as a major success.
Iraqi Army soldiers, supported by 2nd Stryker Cavalry Regiment soldiers, conducted Operation Cougar Storm in the Diyala province. The purpose of the operation was to clear al-Qaeda members out of the villages, find caches, and establish an Iraqi Army presence. Al-Qaeda members have made it hard for the villagers to live normal lives by planting improvised explosive devices on frequently traveled roads, blocking passage to markets and the water supply. 2nd Squadron 2nd SCR Operations Officer Major Christopher McGarry says the villagers welcomed the help and assistance from the Iraqi Army.
And they're very happy to see the Iraqi Army come in and help liberate them and establish some better security.
The multi-coalition operation lasted over 2 days while the villages were cleared of al-Qaeda members and the first steps of progress were made.
By having the Iraqi Army come in and help clear them out, I think we've paved the way for the local citizens of Mulid and Aqib to live a bit more happily.
The 2nd SCR helped the 5th Iraqi Army Division with route clearance, logistical support, and also planning. They found 12 IEDs and several caches. Reporting for 2nd SCR from Fob Warhorse Iraq, I'm Army Sergeant Christina Harwell.
Like the Iraqi Army, the Iraqi National Police are also taking the lead. Army Sergeant Vince Stevens takes us to Baghdad's Rashid district and has this report.
Coalition forces patrol the neighborhoods of Jaza-ur in Baghdad's Rashid district. Soldiers from 2nd Battalion, 7th Brigade, 2nd Iraqi National Police Division partner with soldiers from 2nd Battalion, 4th Infantry Regiment to provide security and stability to the area. The National Police are taking an increasing leadership role as the soldiers train them daily before each mission. National Policeman Sergeant Ashed Saad feels a sense of pride and accomplishment in his unit.
The training my unit receives is great. We are keeping the area secure, and I am proud of the soldiers in my unit.
The soldiers in Creek Company, 2nd Battalion, 4th Infantry Regiment have been consistently training the Iraqi policemen over the past 6 months. Team leader Sergeant James Murray says his unit demonstrates the warrior ethos concept on each patrol.
So much water that our soldiers are out there every day with the Iraqi security forces, setting the example. Keep doing the mission no matter the heat, temperature, or just how bad the conditions are. We keep going forward, keep making progress every day.
2nd Battalion, 4th Infantry Regiment is attached to the 1st Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division. Reporting for 1st Brigade Public Affairs, 4th Infantry Division, I'm Sergeant Vince Stevens, Multinational Division, Baghdad, Iraq.
That does it for this edition of our program. Check out mnf-iraq.com for all the latest OIF information. From all of us here at AFN and Freedom Journal Iraq, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.